Okay, so now the podcast recording had been started and we are starting the podcast. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Adfa Tech Venture podcast. And I am your host, Sonal Shah. And today we are honored to have a visionary entrepreneur and media expert joining us, none other than Richard Fitzgerald. So, Richard is hailing from the vibrant city of the Dubai, and he is the CEO and founder of Augustus Media, a trailblazing modern media company in the UAE and the KSA. So, before we dive into our conversation, I would just like to invite Richard to share a brief overview of himself and the incredible journey he has been on traveling since a lot. So, Richard, please welcome on the floor, and now the floor is yours. So, our audience wants to know what is Richard and what is the Augustus Media. So, please tell me something about yourself.
Thank you, Sunal. Thank you for interviewing me on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for being today with us.
It's great to be on the show. Yeah. So my name is Richard Fitzerald. I'm the CEO and founder of Augustus Media. It's a modern media company. We position ourselves as a cross between a publisher and a broadcaster. We started in Dubai in 2015. So we're going for 8 years. Technically, we're in 11 countries. We would like to be in all the countries in the Middle East and North Africa. So all the Arabic-speaking countries. We have 5 offices in Riyadh, Cairo, and Dubai, but also in Abu Dhabi and Doha. We've got 80 employees. This year, we'll do over $10 million gross revenue and $7 million net and about 20% operating margin. Our main brands are Lovin and Smashy. Lovin is like Lovin Dubai. It's a local news and lifestyle channel. We're in 20 cities across the region. And Smashy is a brand that's more for business and tech and dreamers and doers, driven dreamers and doers, we say. It's got 13 channels from Smashy Crypto, Smashy Gaming, Smashy Sports, Smashy Business. It's got streaming content as well for local sport with AI cameras and all this sort of stuff. My background, I'm from Ireland. I worked in Dublin and London and then Dubai in 2012. I studied economics, but I worked in marketing and on social media. And I kind of, my social media career nicely overlapped with the emergence of social media brands around 2015. So that's when we're growing up on Facebook and clickbait and video and all this sort of stuff. And I guess the challenge wasn't to get billions of views. The challenge was to make a business. And that's what we've been able to do so far anyway.
So that's a fantastic journey you have traveled, and thank you so much, Richard, for that glimpse into your background and the incredible work you people are doing with the Augustus Media. So welcome, and we are thrilled to have you today as our guest. But before we begin our podcast, just a quick word on Adfa Tech. So we are IT and tech platform with the focusing on specially IT solutions, IT resources, recruitments, and its Take Audio podcast. And we have a vendor alliances with the 50 plus tech partners, including SAP, Oracle's, Microsoft, Pega, OutSystems, Appian, Salesforce, Cloudera, Informatica, and many more. And we are majorly providing solutions not only for ERP application development, but also it includes AI, ML, blockchain, cloud management services, UX, UI, and other testing and cybersecurity also. And as we have a resources base of 20,000 plus across all skills, which we can deliver both onshore as well as offshores within 24 hours. So that is our specialized skills. So at Adfar, we just love to hear your views and, being a visionary in this digital media platforms. So I just wanted to have, more insights and more in-depth conversations with you. So now let's dive into our conversations, and our audience will be, grateful for you to have in our podcast. So are you ready, Richard? So we can start the conversation.
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah, so audience, please join me in welcoming Richard at our Adfa Tech Venture podcast. And we are starting the today's discussions. So, Richard, as I wanted to know, so what is your, being a CTO or a CEO, what's your perspective or current technology trends, and what's your experiences and priorities and projects? So, could you please share a bit of, your journey in this digital domain and how you have transferred, from a small company to this big TV media channels and multimedia company. So, please, say something about your experience to, make the stage vibrant. So, over to you, Richard, please.
Yeah, I guess like at the cliche, I'm not a techie that people always introduce themselves as, but I've been working in digital since 2007. My first job was in outdoor advertising after studying economics, but
Yeah.
when I worked in a digital agency in Dublin in 2007, we we were already doing tech. We were building widgets, apps, websites, microsites, flash websites, games, all for big brands. Working in Dublin, working with partners in India, working with partners around the world for Coca-Cola, Vodafone, big brands. So I guess I was exposed to it from an early age on the client service side, and everything that went into tech, for that world, that whether it was doing metadata or SEO or tagging, whether it was project management, Gantt charts, and then just understanding the language and the lingo on things as they grow. Uh, and I guess when we started this company, we knew that tech was going to be part of it, but we we had to choose where to invest, and we decided to choose to invest in content. And we use open source for a lot of things, and then we outsourced a lot of our tech. And about 2 years ago, when we were taking on, we were about 2 years into our streaming challenge. And anyone anyone who's worked on a sort of a video type tech project over the years will know how complicated streaming is from a technical point of view. The different languages, the different servers, the different types of positioning from UX UI to understand, well, what are you trying to achieve from not only web sites, but mobile apps, and then all the different smart TV apps. There are so many now operating systems that are beyond the sort of traditional mobile operating systems, and then the emergence of the cloud, and now where we are today with AI and large language models and all this. So from our point of view, we still license a lot of our software. A lot of our operational admin software, we license a lot of things, but we do want to make streaming efficient and cost effective, and it does lead us to thinking, what could we do with our tech team? We created an in-house product team. We call it a product team, and we with the intention of growing a media business in Egypt, we started hiring our tech team in Egypt. So we built up the usual hires, like the full stack, the front end, back end, iOS, Android, DevOps. Like we started adding different skills at different points, QA, QC, all the different roles that you would normally have. And at the moment, we have a Lovin app, which is a basic news app, but it's native. And then we have a Smashy app. It's also native. It's a video streaming app. It's got subscription. It's got connected TV ads on it. It's got different layers of subscription layers, from freemium to free to like different layers of ad-free tiers and many things that go on there. And that's the base. It's only 10 or 12 people from 80 people, and it's been a long time to get the right chemistry in the team. And what I sort of our company, we want our tech team to be very culturally like our product team to be like the rest of the company. So, technology is a language, just like social media or Instagram or content is a language. And I do believe in teams sort of working together and coming up with solutions and being collaborative. And I don't necessarily believe that, developers and tech are any different to our content people or our commercial people or our finance people. So we try and have that same ethos of moving fast, collaborative, sharing visions, and shipping things fast like we do with content. And so that makes sense for us to have our tech in-house and to build that way. I'm quite excited about the next phase, and we can talk about it, but that's kind of a layout of where we are with our development.
Correct, correct. So that's very humble to know, and being the persons you are. So it shows how you are committed and how your team is committed towards the work and the development the organization is doing. So as you said, you people are working in the team, and the each and every employee not working as an individuals, but in a collaborations with each another. So, what is your recruitment strategy, or like making a team that would have this diverse and versatile personalities, and they can make a good team? So, what is your tech skills that you want to recruit, or what you are looking for people? So, can you share bits of this recruitment parts or a tech skill hiring part?
Yeah, definitely. Firstly, it stems from what type of people we hire. We have some different fundamentals to our culture. Our values are tenacity, ingenuity, and velocity. Tenacity is about persisting, never giving up. Velocity is about momentum, speed, energy, moving projects forwards. And ingenuity is about diversity, genius. There's a bit of genius in everything we do. So it's about, believing that everyone can play a part. And, that's an outset. We tend to hire young people from the countries we're in. So we hire Saudis in Saudi. In UAE, we hire people who grew up here, mixed nationalities. In Egypt, we hire young people from Egypt. And we sort of trust them. We're an independent company, and we sort of trust people to
Yes.
stakes and things like that. And that's the approach that we do on tech as well. I don't have a simple solution of hiring one senior person with experience and building that team around there. And sometimes we have a good senior tech lead, and he's building out the team around him. But for the last 2 years, we've been sort of hiring individual people, and they weren't gelling, but they were really good developers in their own right. And again, like with tech as well, but so many companies are well funded with startup money, and we have to decide: are we going to compete with someone who's raised millions of dollars, who's a fundamentally tech company like a fintech or whatever, or and are we going to have 100, 200, 500 engineers or developers in our company? And the answer is no. So it means that we might not be able to compete at the level with budget or also excitement for these people to work. So we have to sort of know what our strengths is in a diverse company. It's exciting. It's media. People can see things. They can get consumer feedback straight away. We're not sort of building something for years before we launch. Like, it's real time. It's features. We own everything, and that type of thing. So but it is it's a difficult sell sometimes to But I like to compare it with Netflix. Like, Netflix, we're in Silicon Valley and up against all the Facebooks and the Metas and Apples, and they still manage to build really good tech. And it's kind of underrated tech, and they pay good salaries, but it's underrated. Like, people praise how Amazon have AWS, and they don't ever praise Netflix. Like, they don't say Netflix have NWS for Netflix Web Services. They don't as a business model, but they could with how much knowledge they have with their machine learning, and how their algorithms serve up content. Like, basically they have really good tech, and I think, but they never sell their tech. You never pay software as a service for Netflix. You always pay for the content and you get the tech. And I think that's kind of how we see it. Like, we're never charging a software fee or a license fee, and so you're not designed as a SaaS company with salespeople in that way. Like, we're selling content, we're selling IP, and we just really need really good tech. And it doesn't really matter if we own the code or not, if we license it. It just all needs to work together. So that goes to the team and the people. Like, we want people to believe in what we're trying to achieve in our mission and becoming the modern media company of choice in Middle East and North Africa, and that's what we're trying to achieve.
Great to know. So, coming into these way only. So, in this, age of this rapidly advancing technology, how you people are leveraging this AI and ML in its, your operations, and how you are leveraging the benefits of these applications or projects in your, content creations or audience engagement. May I know about this in detail?
Our content, how we do engagement.
Yes, in both the way. Like if you are using this AI and ML, as you said that now you people are more focusing on this kind of a technologies to make the content and create more audience engagement with your Smashy as well as these other channels, multimedia. So how you are leveraging the benefits of this technology, and what's your plan to go with these technology trends?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, you have to see where the audiences are, and we could keep iterating products and keep building products, but if the audience these days of media consumption is on social platforms, and I believe media predominantly is on newsletters, podcasts, vertical video, social media, and streaming. And if you think of the tech that goes into all of those, like newsletters, there isn't much tech, right? You can have a Substack, or you can have a platform, but or a Mailchimp, but and you can have broadcast servers, but usually you're licensing it. For podcasts, you can have a hosting platform, but the distribution is RSS feeds, so there's not much there. For streaming, yeah, the streaming one, and I can talk a bit more about that. And then for social media, for vertical video, it's effectively TikTok and Meta and YouTube Shorts, and in some countries Snapchat and Twitter and the like. And on the streaming side, then you have a decision to make. Like, are you going to make really good content and try and pitch it to the big players, or do we think that streaming has a long way to go? And our view is that there are big players in streaming, but then there's an opportunity with replacing the incumbents' local TV stations, and I think that's our approach with streaming. So we do want to have our own streaming content, and I think the other point with the technology is not just on the what would we call on the product side, but the production side. We purchased AI cameras, and 16 of them 2 or 3 years ago. And what I mean by AI cameras is they're remote automated cameras like security cameras, but they have software that stitches the 4 lenses together, and it can calibrate it for 16 sports. So you don't need an OB or a camera crew. And with an Ethernet cable, you can get the live feed of the match for futsal, volleyball, basketball, handball, football, and you can have that onto your stream service. And if you have the feed, then you can start doing remote production, live production in the cloud. You can do many things like this. You can do remote commentary and things like that. And so that's what's exciting for us. And in India in particular, there's a lot of really innovative software layers that come on top of that, whether it's advertising, ad tech companies, or fast streaming service platforms like Amagi, or there's AI editing softwares like Magnify, and there's just so many different SaaS companies that can plug into that as well. But the base is the belief that you can create content with AI, with production that feeds into it, that can be quite disruptive in the future.
Right. So true, so true. So, what do you perceive as being a CEO that current technology landscape in the Middle East, and what are the other major changes do you foresee, like in this influencing media and industry in the near future?
AI.
It's a common word I'm just hearing from almost all the CEOs, Like whether I ask or not, that is the one common answers by all the people who are into this tech industry, that AI is, taking over from all of the things. So
I think
rightly said.
it's so true. I think it's everywhere now, and you know, because it came, you know, it burst on the scene a year ago, mainly in the content space, right? Generation, so it's really close to home for media and content, and it is super disruptive. I mean, we're we're only at the start of it. Like, you know, there was text, and then there's video, and then there's different companies. Like, there's a lot of money and investment in AI. There's a lot of you know, sort of wrapper AI companies that are just sort of building on top of clouds and API, which are okay, but I think, you know, and I'm not a product person per se. I'm not a CTO, but I think there's a role here for CTOs and companies to advise what's real AI and what's sort of a wrapper on top, because companies can end up investing way too much on things that is just you know, a middle layer that's not necessarily needed. If you want to think sort of long term, and I think, you know, there is a bit of a bubble, but you can decide whether to go all in on AI or to sit in the sidelines. But if you're sitting on the sidelines, you need to know that the game that you're watching is an AI game, and you're not. You have to believe in it, because but it's going to change everything really, and or already is. And like, there's the deep fakes or whatever words we're using for these now, but there's a lot of that happening. You know, so AI is massive. Like, and you know, I'm always asking our product lead, our tech leads, like, you know, how to, like when the Web3 sort of bubble about, we were wondering, well, which coder, which developers do we hire? And now we're sort of wondering, you know, who do we hire for AI? And we're sort of leaning towards Python and Python developers, and that's maybe leading us to making different decisions on which cloud servers to use, just because of the language and just because of AI. So it's fundamentally going to change the fabric of our teams and on how we do, but also how we do content. And I don't really have the answers. You know, I would like us to be using softwares a little bit more. I'd like more of our social media posts to be mid-journey created or whatever, you know, but I don't think you need to be careful as well, on the AI stuff with content. Like, there was a famous American company this week I saw that they didn't tell the public that they were generating articles with AI, and they created the journalists as fake journalists with AI. It was Sports Illustrated, and they got a big backlash. But I don't necessarily think what they did was wrong. I just think that they didn't communicate. Like, you know, I think we need to start to know that there are going to be people who are AI people online, you know, with avatars, and it's like, it's not really new. You know, 150 years ago there was journalists with pseudonames that wasn't really them. So I think there's a lot of things that people are going to get shocked and surprised by, but actually it's, you know, we need to just communicate around these things and embrace it a bit.
Correct. Even I had also, you know, read this case. So, yeah, fully agreed with you. You know, if we are using technology, we should be much more aware of it's both the sides, good side as well as bad sides, and we must know that how to use this technology in the right way. So that is a very rightly said. So could you give us, you know, so at presently, what are the technologies or systems you are currently implementing your company's efficiency and the outputs in each and every manner?
Well, I guess I'm not really an expert on this. Like, you know, of course the developers work in a sort of an agile way, and they are always shipping things. They're working on different projects. You know, we have the standard sort of software for project management. We you know, each quarter we look at which projects are more important than others. What do we need to ship? But then something might come up. Like, for example, we pitched an idea to a client around a sporting event where people could generate with Midjourney on Love in Dubai their own images, and we built everything. And then when it was ready to go live, the client got worried about the sort of non-controlled aspect of AI, so we didn't do that. But so it didn't go live. But basically, the point is that we moved a lot of our team to work on this project, but now we have the tech to be able to do it. But yeah, we've got different processes. We've got different ways of working, just like we do with when we're publishing our content. We have publishing schedules, and just like with the commercial team, with our sales targets and our meetings and everything like that. But we're with the SaaS products that we use, we're on our third project management software in 8 years, and we're looking at moving to another one. And I think that's one of our approaches to SaaS. Like we can move off software and move on to other ones when we want every few years. And I think we need SaaS companies to constantly innovate and update features and things like that. But and our tech team is new, right? Like it's our lead guy is only there a few months, and we're still sort of finding our feet on the processes a bit.
Okay. So, just, if you don't mind, can you share, that how does this all things, for all these things, you allocate your technology budget to ensure there's, innovations and, going with this media technology and media, sustainability in the way market requires. So how do you allocate your budgets, and what are your plans for a budget expansion or to minimization of budget? So what's your given for these?
Yeah, so like we have 4 departments, and the tech is one of our bigger departments. Our budget planning is sort of one P&L across the region. Local market P&Ls, but one master budget. And we sort of look at it like, if our forecast for next year is X, then first of all, we want to have an operating margin or an EBITDA of a certain percentage. And then the rest is obviously our budget. And the budget, 70% of our budget would go to staff. Like human capital is what we invest in the most. And of that budget, the tech team would have their allocated hires, and we would work with the MD and the tech lead to decide which are the hires that are more important. And then on top of that, we have a software budget, which is quite significant. And we're always looking to trial new software. So this year, for example, I basically told everyone the credit card is open, to a degree, but go and test out all these sort of $20, $50 a month softwares on AI to see what you like.
Okay.
And trial by, learn by discovering and trialing in that way. But then there's a lot of software budgets that our tech leads and team believe that they need, and every developer has a different view on which software is more important than others, and it also depends on the life cycle of your company. Like, how big is your app? Do you need Datadog? How much do you use APIs? So which sort of software do you pay for that, and how many seats do you need, and all these sort of things that come into it. And then you're looking at sort of like AWS at the moment, which of, for media, are we using like expensive services like Media Lib, or are we sort of doing things in a more cost efficient way with EC2 and things like that? And how are we coding, and how are we building? And so we basically look at our costs every month, and we go, okay, we had a lot more people using this service, therefore that had a spike in that cost. And similar with cybersecurity. Okay, we got hacked. Then do we need to pay $10,000 or more for CrowdStrike, or like what do we need to invest in all the time? And I think it's a very iterative approach. It's very sort of like, what are the fundamentals that we absolutely need? And if we're not using that one, it's like a tech stack, and it works across ad tech as well. It's which are the partners that we have, what is the code that we have, and where is the demand, and how does it kind of either make the audience grow or make the commercial revenue grow.
Yes, very good. So, any specific strategic plans for future growth, or have you, eyeing for this expansion of this Augustus Media? So, any specific technologies that you want to inbuild with your systems, or you want to grow with any specific?
Yeah, I think anything in media, like at the moment, we're obviously consuming a lot of media on the mobile smartphone, but I do think that wearables and headsets and these type of hardwares we will be consuming media more in that way in the future. But it'll just be another way to consume media as well as a TV is, or a device in a car is, whatever that dashboard is called. And I think as content people, we need our content to be liquid enough to fit everywhere, but we also need our tech and our distribution to be quite smart as well. So we'll constantly, the idea of having a tech team that knows where to move when the audience is moving is what we're looking at. And maybe next year we're not building our own apps on an OS for a headset, but maybe we are. Maybe and I'm not an expert again, but maybe the Apple headset will have a different version of OS for media consumption that's a bit more mixed reality and immersive and 360 and this sort of thing. So that's one thing. But I think right now our focus is a lot on streaming. It's a lot on ad tech and still on apps and features and the basic things of where publishers kind of were for the last 10 years. We're still in that space. We still see the audience there, and we're obviously watching AI very closely as well.
Yeah, that's a good. So in the next time we will also have something kind of Augustus headphones and some similar gadgets and all things. So they are the things in the pipeline, right? So without giving away any company secrets, can you just provide a glimpse into other kind of tidbit or behind the scenes or a unique facet about your company cultures and all?
I think basically, I think the exciting thing about our brands is that we're in an emerging market, just like India is or other parts of Asia. And the Middle East and the Arab world has got its challenges as economies grow and cross-border trade happens. And there is volatility, there's geopolitical instability, but there's also a very young population and tech savvy kind of consumer hungry population, and I think that makes our role in that environment and the people that we hire and the culture that we have quite diverse and quite exciting, to navigate all these different things. So that's the most exciting thing. Like we're building for the long term. We want to do this over decades, not years. And it's quite exciting to sort of, like our strategy is sort of this region for now. And, we would look at partners in India or elsewhere, but our focus is this region. And then our focus is also our own IP, our own content, our own brands. And then the third thing is digital. So we don't do events, we don't do talent management, we don't do print, we don't do radio, we don't do TV. We literally focus on digital, and I think that's the bet that we're making. And because digital is really hard, and all the conversations, all the questions that you've asked, is so complicated. I've been working my whole career in digital for 17 years. Always in digital, and even I feel like I'm not an expert on digital content and marketing, and I would rate what I do like in the digital area 5 out of 10, so I need to get it up.
That's a great of you. So thank you so much for being with us. So just for our audience, so as we reach the conclusion of our today's podcast, this is my special request to you, Richard, that, this is your incredible journey and the fascinating work I'd seen for Augustus Media. But we would just like to love, some more personal perspective from your side. So would you be kind enough to share a brief speech in your words and about your journey, your experience that have shaped you as, what I say, I have no words to, describe yourself in a one word. But just you please share a few anecdotes that have been, instrumental in your career. So Richard, please, few lines in your words for our audience.
Yeah, I align my own values with the company values a lot. Like I do think I want to be tenacious. I want to sort of never give up on what I do. And, I do like to think, especially in media, thinking laterally and finding solutions and that bit of genius inside of us all. And then, just that speed and momentum, because moving things fast in sports or in anything is exciting, right? And getting projects off the ground and seeing people enjoy them and seeing companies grow and seeing things physically happen and visually happen is just very exciting. So, I put my heart and soul into the business. I'm a sole founder and in a risky enough region, and it gives me great responsibility that there are people who have a livelihood on the back of this business, and I just sort of passionate about it and sort of want to continue to. I don't take anything for granted, and we're on the back of a good year this year, but I feel as much pressure to deliver the same and better again next year.
That's a great to feel. That's a so humble nature you have showed towards your audience and to your reach. So once again, thank you so much, Richard, for being with us today and offering such a valuable insights. So your presence has made something different, for our audience, and we look forward for following this exciting journey with Augustus Media in this dynamic world of modern India and creating some good contents from yourself. So thank you, and over to you, Richard, and looking forward for a better associations in the future. So thank you so much to our audience, and thank you so much, Richard, for being with us. So this is all about today's podcast, and we will hope and try to, make something greater for our audience in association with Augustus Media. So thank you so much, Richard.
Great. Thanks a lot, Sonal. Appreciate being on the show this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richard. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.